Hello, everyone. This is Decline Invite, short notice. This could have been an email, but it isn't. I'm Ryan Drumheller, the extroverted IT leader. Normally, I would lead this off with my hook, just a fun story because it's going to get pretty hot here in a second. I recorded this earlier, and it turns out that when I was putting on, this cool little guy here, I didn't have the cord apparently right and no audio. So we get to do this again, and hopefully it's a much better take. So there you go, my fun nugget of the day. So, anyways, everyone is talking about AI right now. What it's going to replace, what it's going to change, what it's going to disrupt. But here's the reality: AI isn't the biggest risk, leadership is. And this is a topic that I am super passionate about. Anybody who knows me, follows me, sees the kind of content I put up, the kinds of things I talk about, they know I'm a champion of the people. I'm a champion of the profession. I'm a champion of good leadership, regardless of however style you do it. Being a good human in your leadership is being a good leader. And I'm going to say the hot take right now: leadership couldn't be more broken. And I truly, truly believe that. And wait, I do have some articles to back that up. So, in the first time on Declined Invite, I'm going to reference an article that I read. Somebody sent this to me not too long ago, and it's a Business Insider article with Brene Brown. And I'll be honest, I went, why does that name sound familiar? And I wasn't following her. And I realized once I clicked on her LinkedIn and looked up a bunch of her sites and did a little bit of reading, I was like, oh, yeah, she is one of the champions of the space that fights for good people rights, good leadership, all the right things you should want. And this particular Business Insider interview is really talking about Silicon Valley, the bad bosses, the tech bros, in her part of the reference there. But it really stems and goes deeper. There's some good insight in there. And we'll get to some of it throughout this conversation that we're having here. But there's a particular quote in there that really grabbed my attention. And I 100% back this. I'd put my name alongside it. I didn't say it, but I agree with it. And the quote is, if you are an asshole leader, you have never had more cover than you have right now. And that is so, so true, because AI isn't taking the jobs at the end of the day. And hang with me here. It's the people leadership that's taking your jobs. The stats on AI don't back up what's being put out there. The current AI successful project rate right now is hovering around 20% or lower. More than 80% of the projects you're failing, they're not successful. Red flag one, the AI is taking your job. But red flag two is that of all of the tools that companies are forcing upon you, and there's a lot of that reference in the article too, that a lot of these companies are tying it to your performance bonuses or even your employment to remain employed there. Despite even all of that, employee adoption rate for tools in the workforce is also hovering about 20% or lower. So even despite that, where are the proficiency gains actually coming from when you're looking at those kind of rates there? And I am not an anti-AI person. There's a lot of podcasts, a lot of content out there that I've been on, and things I openly share where I use AI every day. I enjoy it. I like it for what I use it for. I understand it's a tool, and I control kind of where it heads as much as the tool does. The tool does the things, but I have to coach it. I have to convince it. I have to work it to what I actually want. And what does that all say? I'm still the human driving the machine at the end of the day. And yeah, there's a lot of proficiency gains. I've seen all the coding things. I've built a lot of things with AI along the way. So, and it's really great in that space. The problem is there's some quotes in here from Brene, who's talking about some of the CEOs and others that she's worked with or seen, and they'll remain nameless from her article and from what I know as well, which is that some of these CEOs are making a decision to just do AI projects to just jam something in to just do an AI project, and they're not actually aligning at all with their business goals. No wonder that stat I gave you earlier is so high, because where in the world does that make sense? But they're getting all this board pressure, or they're getting all this other insane investment pressure from shareholders and more to do something with AI. Like, we have to do something with AI, or we're not a tech company, or we're not a company who is competing against our competitors, or whatever that might be. And that is just driving a lot of what I believe that we're seeing in the market right now with jobs in particular. But it's not driving the behavior that I'm seeing with leadership in general. And I go back to that quote I said, where leadership is broken. It's the worst I've ever seen it. It's so true. And I have a lot of personal stories from myself that I've experienced. But worse is, I mean, just log on to LinkedIn at any point right now, and you can see it without scrolling very much. Might even be the first thing you see when you pop in, and that's terrible. That shouldn't be the status quo. But how many people do you know on top of that that are either going through something, went through something, etc.? And that's a horrible time frame. It's a horrible thing, in leadership to actually do. And another quote that I can give is, how many people do you know that are really dependent upon in some of those jobs, or were highly dependent upon, in this case and point in today's time? I've been called an IT unicorn. It's, a post I made. It's a video I made when I announced, my company's brand and everything, because of all the things that I could do and all the channels that I could navigate through, and, you know, being somebody very dependable and different. Now think about that for how many individuals you might know, or where you work today, or whatever it is. And now think about that if they drive that person out. Well, it still happens. I know people in my orbit, my personal orbit, that very situation just played out very recently again. They made a people leadership change. They drove out a very people-y leader, replaced them with a very numbers crunching individual with no people skills. And at the end of the day, it costs them multiple leaders underneath that leader already, on top of all the individuals they don't know about that are talking and looking and trying to navigate their way out. In addition, the same individual that I'm referencing that they drove out, there actually was a conversation about reducing their salary, which is insane conversation to have, especially if you're not actually going to do that, or you're not in that situation. Where in the world does that thought cross your mind that, like, this conversation will go over fine? Think about that if that was you, right? So in the end, that person did end up leaving, and we'll get to some of the success, because there is a success to that particular story that comes later. But they ended up having to replace that person with two people, and ended up spending more in the end. And I just go, at what point do businesses go, what is this person bringing of value to our company versus what they're costing our company? You have to measure at some point dollars and cents. At the end of the day, you are a business. So are they bringing positive monetary? Are they bringing negative monetary? And I don't know how else to tell you that that's a very big negative, when everybody else in that company realizes, wow, we're in trouble when we lost that particular major project that they were also working on is now floundering heavily. On top of, then you had to replace them with, two individuals that are also going to take time and effort to spin up. And one of the individuals that they brought in is kind of a known negative in the industry, and has done not so great things. And this is what you're trying to then turn around and sell the existing employees that are still there. I just don't get it from a business perspective. But additionally, another story, a tough one to hear and watch play out. There's another company. This was back in February, and I'd like to think you'll recognize the point before I even say it. Particular individual is an African American. Maybe you see where I'm going. But anyways, this particular place loves to channel a lot of like, hey, our employees love working here, and look at all these great ratings we get from our once a year employee survey, and let's celebrate Black History Month. And they do these things all the time. And this particular event happened towards the end of February. And yeah, this particular person no longer works there. And you have to wonder, how disconnected can you be to put all of that out there, then follow through with what you've done, and couldn't have waited a few days for at least the calendar to turn March at the end of the day, all for a few dollars and cents is what the situation was at that point. It wasn't performance related or anything like that. It was just to save a few dollars and cents. And then here's the real kicker. They end up promoting the actual manager over top of that individual, and then make a statement that, oh, no, it had nothing to do with that particular event or anything. And you just go back to the leadership of the people who all thought about this or signed off and said, yeah, no, great idea. That, no problem here. Makes sense. And you couldn't even have a conversation with the individuals putting up your content on your socials and like, maybe we don't do this, or maybe we have a conversation to say, if you're really going to follow through with it, just make sure the calendar says March, so it's only a few days away. What is a few days going to matter? It's just insane seeing that level of leadership right now. And going into some of my personal stories over the last year, especially with where I'm coming from now in my career, I'm sitting in these interviews for high level jobs. I'm meeting individuals that are looking to fill bigger roles in the IT leadership space, or at least I should say I was. So I'm sitting in these rooms with these particular leaders, and the most mind-boggling things are being said to me in the conversations, and the whole time I'm like, okay, what is actually happening right now? I sat in this one room with these two high IT leaders who made it apparent to tell me that they weren't IT leaders, came from all these different areas or whatever, and they're clearly not staying connected with upskilling and doing any of those things because they couldn't answer any real technical questions. But then it gets weird. They proceed to tell me that their husbands work there and each of them manage one of them. So one, cool nepotism. We all know it exists out in the workforce. Got it. But what kind of weird bubble does it cause now where you're both friends and then co-manage, and then now everybody else also knows this, so you're not like, okay, probably should have been red flag one, but it gets better. I meet more of the technical leaders of that particular organization, and we're not speaking tech in any of the conversations along the way. Matter of fact, they're challenging what I know and like looking at each other and not quite getting it, I guess, is the point. And again, should have been another red flag at that point. But we continue down, and I come well prepared. I know one of the big challenges out in the industry right now is AI. I know that this particular organization hasn't really done much with AI and is trying to figure out what to do. I bring a lot of suggested ideas and plans. I don't particularly care if they follow with any of them, but should they want to do any of those things, awesome. I have done a lot of them, can help with them. Teammate on board, let's do it kind of thing. Instead, I can only guess that ended up in the trash. Never heard from them again until it was challenged. They sent a very interesting decline email, ironically. Didn't fulfill that position for months, let that team suffer, which is insane to me. On top of that, when you have great candidates sitting there, but then did one of the worst things possible, just turn on Copilot. Okay, no research done. We're just going to do that. We're not going to train staff. We're not going to do anything. Like, I could go on, and I speak about some of these topics in other podcasts. But I promise there's a point to this, and we'll get to that after a message from our sponsors. Hello, everyone. Ryan here from Stellarhorn. Let me take a quick second to talk to you about something I see all the time. Most businesses don't actually have a technology problem, they have a leadership problem. They've got systems, tools, even teams in place, but no clear direction, no strategy, and no one connecting technology to the business. That's exactly why I built Stellarhorn Group. I help organizations through fractional CIO leadership, advisory, and project-based work. bringing executive level technology leadership without the full-time CIO cost. Whether it's strategy, cybersecurity, AI governance, or leading critical initiatives, it's about helping you make better decisions, reduce risk, and actually move forward with confidence. If that sounds like something your organization is dealing with, please reach out. Let's have a conversation. Stellarhorn Group, rare leadership, real results. Technology leadership without the full-time CIO cost. So now that we're back, the point of all of this is bad leadership right now is existing everywhere. And it's so frustrating for me to see as a champion of wanting to do good, wanting to be the change, wanting to make the standard not what the current standard is. And my podcast guest this week on Normal Decline Invite was a breath of fresh air. I met somebody who absolutely is championing leadership on that mentality. And reading this article from Brene is amazing. Being somebody who made a whole business and career themselves. They get to speak freely, and I get to speak freely, now at this point in time. And I 100% agree that leadership is so broken. It's a choice and it's being accepted. And these businesses are allowing it to happen on top of that, while also fostering the environments for that to go on. But if you just add it up to dollars and cents, it doesn't make sense for me that you'd want to damage your reputation of your brand, damage the reputation of yourself, and then just cost yourself how much money at the end of the day. It just wildly doesn't make any sense. So speaking about some of those previous stories, just the kind of things that I do, go look at my LinkedIn recommendations, go look at any recommendations for any services that I'm on outside of some of the companies that more or less I fought against for trying to do the bad and me sticking up for the good. I've got pretty good ratings and reviews, and I have a lot of individuals that have worked for me that would show up tomorrow if I had an opportunity to give them, and it would work for me no problem. And you can ask them about that. So I back this up through and through. And even in my profession now as a fractional, all my contracts are 30 days at the end of the day. If you don't like me, I'm not producing the results I say that I'm doing. I'm out of a job, I'm out of a contract, I'm out of money on the table. So absolutely reputational at the end of the day. So I back that up in my agreements. And the point that I'm going with all of that is it is such a choice to be a good person, a good leader. You can absolutely stand up and be a great mentor. You don't even have to be the leader anymore of the employee that used to work for you and to still be a leader. There is countless employees that I've managed throughout my career who message me for advice. We talk through things. Job recommendations. I've helped get plenty of individuals jobs at the end of the day, and so happy to see them thriving in other places. And I think that's the problem, is that we're seeing a lot of individuals that either shouldn't be in the roles at all or are just showing up going good enough. And it's not. You're accepting the paycheck, you're accepting the title. With that title comes responsibility. And that responsibility is to foster an environment of mentorship and leadership, upskill your team, teach them the values and the ways, teach them the business, and continue that. It doesn't stop when you walk through the door. It doesn't stop when you go home. But I've met so many quote unquote people that held the titles in the last year that it really angered me and got me down. And maybe a little of that comes out even in this recording, but it's because I'm so passionate about good people leadership, about being a good leader, because there's nothing more detrimental to your business than bad leaders, because then they're going to decay your company from the inside out. And it goes back to that quote that I stand behind, and I think a lot of people would agree with, that people don't typically quit jobs, they quit bad leaders. And bad leaders are also the individuals who help control your paychecks at the end of the day. And if they're costing your company great employees and then you're having to turn around and give them more money to replace them because they're not telling you the truth and you're not actually monitoring it, it goes both ways, then I don't know what to tell you. But I will tell you that it is an absolute choice, and anybody listening to this in an actual leadership capacity absolutely should think about every single day, What is the good that I tried to do today? Just try. I'm not saying you have to actually do, because you're going to have wins and losses along the way. You are human too at the end of the day. But if you just try to foster an environment of good, of being a people leader, of being a mentor, that is going to completely change your culture. And yeah, you might not keep every employee along the way, because business is business at the end of the day. But I guarantee they're going to remember that. They're going to say great things. You're going to get great marketing material out there, because that employee is going to say, I loved everything. And maybe this opportunity is just an opportunity that you guys don't have, or it's just an offer you can't beat, or whatever it is. And that's okay. I've encouraged an employee to leave before, and I told them, I didn't want you to leave, but you gotta take it. It's a great, amazing offer. I would hate to be that person that's not providing you more meals for your family at the table. And I can tell you that that relationship still goes on today, years later. I still get messages. We still talk a lot. I've mentored that person again in situations that they're running into at different organizations that they just wanted some guidance on. And that's what it's all about. I was on a recent podcast where I was asked my opinion on what you would guide and give to the younger generation and future leaders. And my advice was to remember to put yourself in the other person's shoes, whether it's a teammate, an employee that you lead, a business individual that you're working with along the way, a customer, somebody you don't work with, whatever it is, whoever you're interacting with, put yourself in their shoes, because that becomes easier then to think about. It becomes easier then to give some good advice. It becomes easier to help them through the situation or guidance situation that they're looking for at the end of the day. And when you do that, a lot of things don't matter at that point. A lot of the negative, the positive is what comes out of that. You put good out into the space. You make it a safe space. You make it a space where it becomes respected and people look up to those individuals, and it grows and it becomes contagious. It becomes a cultural shift. It becomes a networking opportunity when individuals go, "Oh wow, I worked with Ryan and he was amazing. Wow, you'd be silly not to, hire that individual." And I'm holding a particular situation. More or less, I interviewed at a place. It went amazing. We had a lot of interviews. Everything trended well. It was very evident that we were making a deal likely to happen, right? Like everything went great until they had a leadership change. In that regard, it cost them me in that situation. And I'd like to tell you all the great things about me, but I'm not that particular individual, just a champion for leadership. But I had a lot of great conversations with it, and it was unfortunate that that situation happened. And it's another example of where leadership can cost you a great employee, because I was already solving problems for them during interviews. I was giving them feedback and giving them suggestions on what to actually do, just trying to prove my value and my worth. And it went amazing until the change happened. And I can tell you that I respected the organization so much that I messaged the CEO to give feedback on a few of the people I interacted with, to be like, yeah, it sucks that it kind of went this way, but I want to tell you about some of the great employees that you have working for you. And here's how those conversations went. And here's what resulted in it, because maybe I'd consider doing business with that particular company again. But I have one particular email from an HR individual that is one of the best email feedbacks I've ever been given, that I've yet to utilize yet, and I probably should, and I probably should reach out for that to that person and get their okay and actually using it. But it reminded me that my brand mattered. I showed up. I did the right things. And even in doing the right thing, sometimes it doesn't go that way. But maybe that door wasn't the door, and there'll be another door. And now I'm looking to be my own door and work for myself, so to speak, and be solo, which is why I'm trying to be a bit more free with these conversations. But it showed me to stick to that, because that is what's memorable at the end of the day. There's two things you remember, right? You remember an awful boss, an awful leader. It's one of those. But you also remember the great bosses, the great leaders, the ones that you might follow around in your career, the ones that might want to hand the mantle to you and hope that you ascend them. And I'll leave with my particular quote that those who know me know that I'm not one of the leaders that will cut you off at the knees. I'm not one of the ones that try to keep you down because I'm afraid that you're going to take my position. I've always said it. When you're ready, you should take my role. And if I'm worth my salt, that particular company will find me a different role, or maybe that's time to move on. And in my career, both of those things have happened along the way. And I am so happy to see the individuals that invested in themselves and that I help mentor and guide flourish and be able to ascend along the way. And that's what leadership should be. So I hope you've taken away some things in this particular recording. And again, leadership's a choice at the end of the day. What's happening right now are excuses. That isn't what we want as a standard quo. And all the employees don't deserve that. All those leaders doing those things should absolutely take a look in the mirror and see if you like what's staring back at you when you think through all those scenarios. So this has been Decline Invite, short notice. This could have been an email, but it wasn't. And in this case, shouldn't have been. I'm the extroverted IT leader, Ryan Drumheller, and I'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone.